Welcome to another Mocha Money Monday. I'm Ashley Scott, your host, and we are here thanks to the Phenomenal Hughes community and our sponsor, Wilson's Financial. I am super excited to bring to you all Miss Brooke Boone. She is a real estate professional and an overall amazing entrepreneur who's going to share her story with us today and who's going to help us with the theme of setting up your business for success. So let's go ahead and welcome Miss Brooke Boone and allow her to introduce herself to the world. How you doing today, Miss Boone?
I am wonderful. Happy Monday, everyone. Thank you for having me on. Like you said, my name is Brooke Boone. I am in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm actually a real estate agent here in the Mid-South. So I'm licensed in Tennessee, Mississippi, and Arkansas. So I service clients in all three states. I am a multi-million-dollar producer. I am also an investor. I buy and flip property. A little bit, I guess, about my background and my starts. I am a mental health therapist by trade, so my master's is in social work. I got licensed in social work about 12 years ago. And I got into real estate about almost 5 years ago. And so I've been doing real estate since that time.
Awesome. So how did you set your business up for success, Miss Brooke? What to you were the first foundational things that helped you to get on that pathway to prosperity, as we like to call it?
Well, one of the first things that I think that I did was reach out to my sphere of influence. Um, that is the way that most real estate agents start because, you never realize actually how many people you actually know when you get into business. So that's the very first thing. The second thing is to start building my individual network of influence in business. Um, that's something that I work on constantly. Just making those connections. I'm starting to do a lot of conferences and speaking engagements. I did one this past week in St. Louis, Missouri. Sowing seeds into other people, really making those connections. Looking for familiarities in business. Just trying to stay abreast of current topics so that you know what's going on, you know how to become partners with other people in business. You're able to reach out to other people as needed. And so those are some of the things that I am doing to make sure that my business is successful.
Now, you said you are a multi-million dollar producer. What are
Mhm.
some of the habits that it takes? Like when you wake up, do you have certain rituals, routines that get you prepared to go out and be a multi-million dollar producer in the real estate industry?
Systems are extremely important when you're trying to do or trying to set up any successful business. Making sure that you put your systems in place. For me, it was very hard coming from a mental health background, kind of living a life of, okay, I'm gonna see this client, I'm gonna have a group, I'm gonna kind of just do my thing. It's kind of like winging it. Well, real estate is a little bit different. You have to be extremely structured. That's what works for me. Doing the same things over and over every day. Some days you get, some success stories. Some days you don't, but it's very important to make sure you're doing the same things. If, setting up your business, if you're going to cold call, if you're going to prospect, if you're going to follow up, like I said, building your network, the money is really in the follow up. So you have to make sure that you are constantly following up with the same people, almost so much that you get on their nerves, but you have to continue doing this so that you stay in somebody's mind because people will forget. They will forget that you're available to assist them if you're not constantly doing things and being creative about how you contact them, how you make sure you're staying fresh on their mind. All of these things are very important if you want to be successful, especially in this business, especially when there are thousands of real estate agents. Another thing that I am excited about, I'm sorry if you guys hear my dog in the backyard barking. He is just going haywire. Another thing that I'm extremely happy and excited about is my new podcast. And this goes along with creating things that set yourself apart from other people in your same business. So I started a podcast, and it is called Real Estate 101 with Brooke Boone. It is on YouTube, and so you guys be sure to check that out. But it's Real Estate 101 with Brooke Boone, but I'm interviewing people who are in the real estate community and also people who may be connected to the real estate community, because as my career grows and I shift and I'm trying to exploring rather other avenues of business, other things that interest me, is helpful. It's not only helpful to have people on, but it's more, you're getting more resources, you're meeting more people. One of the things that is a huge, I guess, barrier for a lot of people in business, especially real estate, especially right now, with the market being down, people are trying to find other avenues to make money, because, selling houses is great, but when the market gets slow, it's like, okay, well, what else are you going to do? So for me, I am wanting to get more into commercial real estate. But the barrier is finding financing, finding funding for those things. So like I said, on my podcast, I'm bringing on all kinds of different people. But I need to, one of the guests that I haven't had is somebody to talk about financing. And so that's what one of the people that I need.
Okay. So let me talk. I want to go back a little bit. You said one of the things that works for you so well is systems. One of the things we love to do here at Mocha Money Monday is leave people with some points that they can use that are actionable, practical, and that can make them get to the bag. So when you talk about these systems, okay, you got the E-Myth.
The E-Myth is one. I just started this one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about building an elite organization, and systems being important to me. But go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
So
I wanted to get excited about my books.
Okay, no, books are important, and we always like to go to tips. And one of the things you said was that the fortune is in the follow-up. That's one of my quotes that I got from Jim Rohn a long time ago. I've been in marketing. I'm also a real estate agent myself. And one of the things that we learned, I'm a Keller Williams agent, we talk about the 33 touches, right? So over the course of a year, you might not be able to get someone to make a real estate purchase, right, immediately. But everybody eventually does make a real estate purchase, whether it be a condo, a townhome for investment purposes, or that first home for their family. People typically will, during the journey of their life, make that real estate purchase. And what you want to do is stay top of mind. And there are systems that I like to use, and I'm curious to know what systems you use, whether it be text messaging on a regular basis, whether it be email marketing. What are some of the things that you do? And for me, our 33 touches, because we believe that in a year, you need to send that happy birthday note. If you know when their anniversary is, you want to send that happy anniversary note, because it's all about relationship building and relationship management. And the more information that you can get from your customers, the more you can build rapport. The more rapport you have, the more you're able to really become the person that they want to utilize for their real estate choices, or their real estate purchases, or no matter what industry is. If you're selling bundles, if you're selling car insurance, whatever it is you do in life insurance, health insurance, across any industry, it's all about people management and relationship management, and trying to touch somebody 33 times in a year through postcards, through phone calls, through text message and emails. You do need a system. So I'm curious to know, is there a system that you utilize for that?
Yes, there are several systems that I use. One being I like to do personalized notes that I like to send to my clients. I have quite the database, so I can't send if I'm going to hand write them and they be really personalized. I like to kind of break my list up. I do some in the winter, spring, fall, depending on, and I try to match this with the personality so that they can tell that I really have gained some rapport. Now, this is what I do for my former clients, because that's also very important. We think that, after we've sold someone a property, that they're just going to disappear. But that's not what happens, because a lot of our business comes from referrals. A lot of my business comes from referrals. And so I make sure that I stay in contact with those people, because those are the people that refer you to other people. And also those are the people that in a year, they're like, I don't want to live in this house anymore. I want to live in this house. And, I found a house that I like better. So I need you to sell this property for me and find me another one. But if you haven't been in contact with them since they moved there, then they may use another agent because you're not staying fresh on their mind. So that's very important. So the handwritten notes, I do text messages. I have all of the marketing set up to do where it sends out emails and all of that. But I just feel like being personal really sticks with people, and they remember, because everybody is getting so many emails from different marketing. If as soon as you sign up with somebody, you get on their email database. And so if it's Labor Day, I know for Labor Day, I got tons of emails. Well, something that would stick out better than that would be going to your mailbox. And I know it's old fashioned, it's old school, but actually going to your mailbox and pulling out something that's handwritten, and that it was personalized just for you. So that's one of my gems that I like to do.
I love that. So we had a question in the chat that asked, how do you deal with the disappointments of not being able to close that deal? Like, there's sometimes a real estate deal you've been working on for months. Even in commercial real estate, it can take a year working on and negotiating a commercial deal, and then you get all the way to the end and it falls through. How do you deal with those disappointments when the success that you're used to having doesn't pan out the way that you imagined it would?
Well, one of the things, and this is something that has happened over gaining some experience for the last few years, is that, with every single transaction, I do my best. I put my best into it. I give my all, and I don't worry about the outcome. The outcome is the outcome, and the outcome is out of my control. Now, the process is what's in my control. Real estate has so many moving parts. One transaction is involving so many different people, so many hands have to touch one real estate transaction. So as long as I myself know that I am doing everything that I can do during the process, then I don't worry about the outcome, because the outcome is the outcome. And if you focus too much on a failed transaction, then you're not able to move on. It's like, there is a saying, and I hope I say it right, excuse me, but you win slow and you lose fast. You lose fast, win slow. So, when I'm losing, I'm on to the next thing. I don't have time to spend too much energy on feeling disappointment. I don't want to get stuck in that rut. So I continue to move, and I continue doing my best. Like we talked about systems, I continue doing my systems. I move on to the next transaction. I make sure I put my all into that. And when you get into entrepreneurship business, it's really based on a totality. It's not based on one transaction. It's based on the whole. And that's just how I look at it. And that's what I do. And so, like I said, lose fast, win slow.
Okay. And I love that because it does. I always say this in sales, it takes 100 no's to get to that one yes. And how you deal with those no's, you can't get into that rut of disappointment, like you said. You got to shake it off. Just like
You
we
have
tell our
to.
kids, when you fall down, you got to get right back up again. And you keep going through the process of elimination. You're just eliminating people who are not ready for you today. And again, that no is just not now, is not necessarily never, right? And so having that mindset is important of, yes, I might have gotten a no today, but that doesn't impact who I am. Like you said, if I'm giving my best, I'm doing my best, I'm not going to get knocked off of my square. I'm going to keep going through the process. I'll keep working the system. So I
And
love that response.
let me say this. Also, it's all about learning, because from every single transaction, there's something that you learned. And even if it was out of your control, there's something that I can always pick out that I learned that I can do better the next time. We are in control of who we work with. And sometimes we have to eliminate, somebody on our team, because we're like, okay, what happened? As we do, dissect the transaction to see, okay, what made this transaction fall apart? Was it the lender? Did they pre-underwrite the file? Because I don't work with lenders that don't pre-underwrite their files. Have to I have to, have confidence in my team that everybody on my team is doing what they need to be doing to make sure that we can get this file to closing. So that happens sometimes, when I reevaluate, I go back and I say, hey, this is not a person that I need to work with. I've had lots of deals that have fallen apart a couple of days, 3 days before closing. And this was when I first started. And so I had to evaluate and say, well, why are these falling apart? What could have been done differently? Whose error was it? Because like you said earlier, how did these people get this far? They weren't ready to buy. And so we shouldn't have been going through this process to begin with.
So I just want to ask you a few more questions before we get up out of here for this Mocha Money Monday. How did you decide what success looked like for you when you came down to your business? And, success can be a monetary number. It could be helping specific number of clients. It could be gaining an award. So how did you define success for you in your business, Brooke?
So success for me, I'll piggyback off of something that I said earlier. Success for me is knowing that I did my best, and the outcome being the outcome, because like the outcome is not always in my control. So as long as I know that I actually did my best, I was competent, I did my job, I made sure I, dotted the I's, crossed the T's, then that's success for me. I don't put a monetary value on my success. That's something that I don't do personally. And from a different perspective, I am a multi-million-dollar producer, but I don't sign up for the clubs anymore. And so that's probably a whole nother show. But my worth is not based off of what somebody else thinks about me. It's based off of how I feel about myself. So
I love that answer. And I think that's an important thing for everybody in business, is to recognize what success looks like for them, especially if we're going to talk about a topic around how you set yourself up and your business up for success. I think goal setting, like, it doesn't have to be monetary. It could just be that mission statement that every day I give my best. And if you can go to sleep at the end of the day knowing that you met your mission of giving your best, then that is indeed a successful business. And everybody looks different. And so I'm grateful for having you today on the show, Miss Brooke. You really have given us a lot to think about as it relates to how we can work those systems. I thank you for those book recommendations. You want to tell the people about the books that you've been reading again?
Absolutely. Well, I have, you said something that, and this is a new copy. Mine is all torn up,
Okay.
but this is a fantastic book. You know, when I first got into real estate, I don't know how much time we have. Do we end at 9?
Well, we'll go till 9:10 because we started at 8:40. So
Okay. So when I first got into real estate, I bought a new vehicle and I ended up speaking with the general manager at the dealership, and really successful person, really well-known person. And this is the happiness advantage, by the way, if you guys can see it.
yeah, and people will be listening on the podcast too. So it's the Happiness Advantage by
Yes,
who?
by Sean Aker.
Okay.
And so one of the things that he said to me that day when I bought my new vehicle was that he had a lot of car salesmen. You know, we had to talk about me being a new real estate agent. And he said car salesmen that come into work all stressed out, you know, they're worried about all their problems. They're worried about the money. They know they need to make money. Those are the car salesmen that don't sell any cars. But the car salesmen that come in, they're joking around, they're happy, they're talking to people, they're engaging in conversation. Those are the car salesmen that make all the money. And so that's something that I utilize. I wake up every day. A part of my systems is making sure that I'm okay. And that's from my mental health background, making sure that I have great energy, because when you have great energy and you go out into the world, then that type of energy, you attract that type of energy. I can't even tell you how many times I'm places and I spark up a conversation with somebody, and then they end up maybe referring me to somebody, or they end up keeping my card and calling me back in a few months to refer me to somebody or either sell something for them. So it's all about your attitude, having a great attitude. People have been talking about the market. The market has shifted, but I wake up every single day and I tell myself it's a great market. It's lots of houses. There's lots of buyers. And I put that energy out there. The happiness advantage is it's so many different gems in it, but one in particular is just focusing on being happy so that you get that energy back to you in business, in your personal life and also in business.
That is a huge advantage. I know when you're happy and you exude joy, people want to be around you. They want to introduce other people to you. They want to see you win. And that happiness, that joyfulness that you exude, it's contagious, right?
Absolutely.
Other people want to be around winners. They want to be around folks who are not stuck feeling like, like nobody wants that energy of just like, oh, here that person come again, Lord. They just always got the anxiety, they always got the stress, and that happiness advantage, it does move the needle for you in your personal and your professional life. So
Absolutely.
definitely check out that book by Sean Anker, The Happiness Advantage. You also talked about and showed the E-Myth book.
Yes, this is just one of my favorite books because it always, I mean, I'm constantly, I have several copies of these books that I buy because I write notes in them, and then, you know, but the E-Myth is by Michael Gerber. It's about why small businesses don't work, basically. And me and Donetta were talking about this, but having the mind, when you become an entrepreneur, you really have to move past the technician way of doing things, the worker mentality. And so I've been reading that a lot as well, just to remind myself to focus on delegating tasks, not to get too bogged down with everything, because that's when it becomes very overwhelming. And that's when you have burnout, you get tired.
Yes, and I think that is a good point to drive home in your successful business. If you're going to set yourself up for success, you do need to be able, willing, and ready to delegate. Because if you get bogged down with the day-to-day activities of of the task of making the work for your clients happen, you're not focusing on building the business up. Doing those things like if you're going to do 33 touches, you can't do 33 touches. You can't write all those notes. If you got a database of 10,000 people, can you imagine writing 10,000
Oh,
handwritten notes?
absolutely. A lot of
So
people,
really
yeah.
figuring out ways to delegate in your business is always going to be a major key for success. So I'm so grateful that you shared that in those books as well, Miss Brooke. Is there any final words or tips that you'd like to leave with the audience before we get out of here today?
I guess my tip would just be to go and be great, be happy, give yourself grace. Don't beat yourself up. You have to keep going. Something that I always remind myself when earlier when you were talking about failures. Um, don't beat yourself up when something doesn't work out your way. You have to keep going. And the next time it will work out your way. But if you stop, then you'll never know. So that's just one of my tips.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Miss Brooke. I'm going to open the line for any of our guests. We have some of our P3 coaches on the line. We have Miss Rhonda, Miss Laura, Miss Donetta Wells. We have some guests, Miss Esther. If anybody has a takeaway or something they'd like to lend to the conversation, now is the time to unmute your line and share a word with us today before we end this Mocha Money Monday podcast.
So Brooke, you talked about, we have a theme at P3, it's prepare, pivot, prosper. And how did you, what was the motivating factor to make you pivot from such a very specialized profession to decide to pivot into a real estate sales kind of business? What was it that was the motivating factor that made that pivot decision for you?
Great question, Brooke. You want to answer that?
Sure. So I think that becoming stagnant in my old career, kind of reaching the top, not really having anywhere else to go, doing the same exact things for 11, 12 years, that would be the key. Those were the key factors that caused me to explore real estate. And once I got into real estate, I realized that there are so many different avenues of real estate, so many places to go, so many things to do, so many things to explore. And so I am, excited about all of that. Like I said, I'm an agent, but I'm an investor as well. I want to get more into commercial real estate. I want to explore some other business opportunities that are related to real estate. So
Awesome. Now, you mentioned you have a new podcast, Brooke. Where can people tune into your podcast?
yay. So I am on YouTube. My YouTube channel is called Real Estate 101 with Brooke Boone. And the podcast is also called Real Estate 101 with Brooke Boone. And my Facebook and my IG handles are Real Estate 101 with Brooke Boone.
Awesome. Well, we are so grateful that you could join us for Mocha Money Mondays. The P3 community, our Phenomenal Hughes community, is brought to you by Wilson's Financial Group. And we are the P3 coaches. I am Ashley Scott, one of the elite coaches. And if you are interested in getting more help for your business, if you are wanting to get on the pathway to prosperity, we have a passport waiting for you. Come check us out at phenomenalhughes.com, and please tune in next Monday for another Mocha Money Monday. 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are here each week talking about how to get to the bag. Thank you so much again, Ms. Brooke Boone, for being our special guest today. And we look forward to learning more and connecting with you on your podcast, Real Estate 101 with Brooke Boone. We appreciate you. And we're honored you could join us today.
Thank
and
you for
again,
having me.
thank you to the audience for tuning in. You guys have a great rest of your week. Peace.